Hello everyone, I'm Rob Smith, the Black Quant VTF here, T3 Live, and let's start out this week and be very, very clear as active traders. And if you're an active trader, we have a mortal enemy at this point, and that is this VIX 10.58. And that what that means is that we really have to hunt down volatility and things that are moving because things just aren't going to go very far at this point. And if we start dropping into single digits, it'd be hard to believe, but it possibly could get worse. So one of the important things that I talk about is trading the VIX products, and there's an often misconception that stuff like VXX here that these things hate down markets. They don't. VXX and UVXY are based off the contango of the back contract options in the VIX, and so what they hate is a boring market like we have, and that's why you're seeing this constant decline. And then SVXY shooting to the moon here, and it's be like, why is it doing that? And like, because of those options are so deeply in contango with almost no chance of not being. Those things have still been go-to, but this low VIX, I can't express enough what an enemy that is to trading. In the morning, I tweet out hashtag mind the gap, and you really want to stay on that stuff, especially in this environment. We have earnings and stuff like that coming out. We want things that are moving around, and so that's why, like on Friday, you can go after like a Sina, something like that, big bearish engulfing, SMCI, stuff like that during the day that we can find that are really moving, because otherwise we're just using a microscope to try and get some of these moves. However, we did have a nice RevStrat and SPY last week, and remember when I talk about when they get tight like this inside day and SPY, it's like is usually what happens when it gets that tight. They take out both sides, and that's what happened in the weekly. If you go to the week, inside week, and took out both sides to go one bar RevStrat here like this, as the diamonds does this. Diamonds did the two bar restaurant, the hammer countering the shooter. So we were lucky to get that. And how that occurred is like the turnaround Tuesday phenomenon that I talk about. And if you look at the daily, you'll see that here we had the hammer on Monday, which was it took out Friday's lows, but not Thursday's. And the SPY was a little weaker. It took both of those out, and they started off red on the week, but on Tuesday they started to kick in. And the way that works out is if you just go to the Dow, who's going to take us to 20,000? UNH formed RevStrat Day. That helped take us to 20,000. You had Visa taking out the week like this. Inside week measured move helped out. You had Cat Tractor do this. Go weekly hammering up, and so when anybody's looking at Dow 20,000, we simply just break it down into those components, and that's what happened. But for this, at this point, now that we go into new highs, now we're just rotting up here. Now, how do we get out of here? All right, what do? We just go up here inside day to start off in the diamond SPY here. Just 2 days, 3 days of doing, or 2 days of doing nothing after this. So it's tough sledding in there, and that's why today should be a little shorter, because we need to go after earnings. We need to go after things that are on the move, and we're also exhausting the month. So the end of January, so we're going to have new signals, and until then, it's really been the tech has really been the thing, outside of maybe some trannies here in the rails. But this needs to change. Otherwise, we're going to stay on this stuff, on those movers. So if you go to the Qs daily momentum hammer, and the Qs and the tech has really been the place. And that's why when you look at the monthly, you can see the Qs have really done it. SPY comes up two and diamonds here, but really it's been NASDAQ Qs going. And so now we just have that momentum hammer to see if, when I get to the tech section, if these things just keep going to finish off the month. If we go to Apple here going inside day and finally gets out of there, and it's just been a slow drive like this here, just big outside bar, chop, one nice day, and then other than that, chop. But we did have this monthly, nice and green, and take this stuff out. You finally take this out. So the question, are we going to be strong enough to take this outside bar and get into the highs? No new actionable signal outside of that inside day. So we're blowing out a lot of these longer term signals, unfortunately. If we go to small cappers going inside month. And that's no surprise, because we've been following this weekly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks completely in this bar's range. So a whole bunch of doing nothing, but we got an inside month to start off, most likely for February. If we go into the Dow, we got Johnny John here. Just weekly hammer if there's going to be anything out of here. And unfortunately, a lot of things are inside month, but we'll keep an eye on this weekly hammer. As we get to the XLV section, we got some potential there to try and reclaim this neighborhood here. It's Rev Strat week, inside week countered with hammer, so we'll keep an eye on Johnny John. We got Merck here going inside week, and so have to get outside of that, but we'll see, because the drugs and that kind of stuff have a shot here when I get to that section. If we go to Coke would be Rev Strat week to the downside, and so keep an eye on that as I get to XLP here in a second. Coke also one of those doji months doing nothing, and so another thing that we want to do is when VIX is this low, when you get to Wednesday, we want to start looking at weekly charts that have long red bars and long green bars, and get to the second week of the month, you want to start looking for those monthlies are doing that, because it shows you things are on the move. Right now, even Steven, everyone's a loser, but we're finishing off the month as a Rev Strat downside potential. Procter & Gamble is inside for potential up sideways measured move. That would be nice. So we'll keep an eye on that, because the XLP itself goes shooting star here to see if they want to bring him in again. It's had a nice little push up into here, but the question is, are people going to stick with yield, or what are they going to go after here? If you go a couple of those defensive names, you got STZ going shooter here on the weekly if they want to take that out. And the reason this is important is we're going to look for measured move type of stuff, and by that I mean, you can see anytime there's a big move and then consolidation, the hopes is you get this down and sideways and follow through measured move and get them to hit it. So we got a couple of shooters to keep an eye on there. SJM, peanut butter jelly time, going the other way, and that is monthly, inside month and up still, and just starting off his momentum hammer here to see if there's any hope. If we go to the trannies, all right, trannies hanging around the highs here, go to the monthly. Tried to go shooting star and goes right back up towards the highs with the help of some rails here. Last week here like that. And there's a weekly trying to come up here, and so we'll see testing the high. So we'll go, because we got Union Pacific, and the reason we can keep an eye on this is a lot of these other things have made it to the new highs, and it's still driving towards there. I don't have any actionable signals on it, but certainly going to be aware of if the trannies keep driving going toward the highs of that. If you go to Norfolk Southern did it, took it out, and it did it this way. Last week we watched this outside week, that's fractal triangle, to expand. All right, and so if you go to the daily, you're going to see this. Here, triangle here, goes up, test support, hammer, boom, gone. Now an inside day. See if they want to keep that going. But a lot of this stuff is straight momentum, because you're going into the highs, and the VIX this low, it might be up, but maybe not too much. But we did get a nice move out of that. If you go to CNI, just another one here, going inside week, and still has a shot to go towards the high, so we'll keep an eye on that for that, because CSX just went straight to the moon here, bam. And that was nice off the momentum hammer here. Momentum hammer, and just still going down inside day to see if there's any more in the tank. Okay, if we go to KSU getting interesting here. Is KSU on the weekly. Goes inside week, I believe. Yes, it did. Inside week. And so the reason that's important is, as the month closes out this week, we want to see if this re-breaks this monthly to the downside or sets up the monthly Rev Strat. Here, hammer countering inside bar. If we go to the airlines, American just going shooter like this, and here's this triangle here, is just stalled out here for now, but had a rough day on Friday, bearish engulfing here, and what that does is that sets up this weekly Rev Strat week, inside week countered with shooter if they want to bring American Airlines in a little bit more. Go to Delta not doing much, inside week, outside week, and so that's just here cooking the inside month to start off February. United Airlines also inside month, so we'll see how that goes. JetBlue, the one took the beating here. Got him going here too. Big outside day and then pummeling. So we'll see if that underperformance continues. No actionable signals there, unfortunately. FedEx was up huge, and this is a nice daily measured move. Up, sideways, inside day, bam. And so now we just, lack of actionable signals is going to be the problem. And we're running out of month, and you got a nice green month, but we'll see if there's any follow through there, because UPS tried to follow suit a little bit. but no actionable signals is going to be the problem there. So yeah, we'll just have to go intraday on that. EXPD, big hammer, big shooter, and now trying to go hammer again. What it does do to set up the end of the week here, it goes RevStrat week. So we need that RevStrat above 53.33 inside bar countered with hammer. If you go to CHRW is one of those weeklies you got on the move, so that's good. It's just trying to go towards the highs, like so. No actionable signals, but like I said, if you get something on the move, we'll just have to see if we can trade some more momentum, because some of these things, once they get moving like this, keep going, and that's that's the way we got to hunt this stuff down in this environment. If we go to the Utes, just a corpse, and you can see this sitting middle of the range. Utilities going inside month doing nothing. All right, so they need to get out of here if we're going to get anything going out of that stuff. So if you go to ED, the only thing you can possibly hear is trying to look for these triangles in case they start moving towards the getting these broadening formations going. There's ED, and that's also weekly hammer, so potential there, something. And EE here, and this at least is attempting this monthly break, although it's going to be a 2-bar pattern. It's not going to get outside of that mother bar month, this thing here, but at least it's attempting this to try and get out of here. So conversely, if these things start to fail, and they've got a nice move down towards here where the ED can go from the bottom to the top, this could go top to the bottom. We'll see. If we go to the REITs, VNQ, and VNQ at least goes like this outside week, so there's at least some jumble going on in there. So not too much, but if you go to AIV, you can see RevStrat to the downside weekly if they want to start hitting these things. BDN, the same. If you go to PSA here, another RevStrat potentially downside, so if they start hitting those REITs, you can focus on those. If we go to the XME here, nice little move here. It takes out the high, so it won't be inside month, but just painfully slow. He's just walking up this thing painfully slow. We'll be starting off as an inside day. If we go to gold, and gold is still going to be like this, GLD. See these slight higher highs off of that, slight lower lows here. So trying to watch how does it behave in here, because once again, this could be a nice range if it gets moving. So we'll have to see how that goes. Silver here, similar, although unable to put in the higher high as yet. You've got this lower low here, like that, sitting on this business in here. So for the week, here, silver, doji, and it's got to get out of there, and so you can see this like this here, this, and you'll see that series got to get out of that. GDX here, weekly shooter, and we know we've been watching this painful episode in here too. How do you get out of this stuff? Tries to go up, pulls back in, still higher lows than that stuff, just no new actionable signal outside of the weekly shooter. If they want to start hitting the underlier, keep an eye on that. If we go to GG at least inside day, and then here if they do start to hit them, you got the weekly shooter off the slight higher high. If you can take that out if they start hitting the gold. RGLD here, conversely, just slowly, painfully walking up this series of higher lows. So we'll see if the gold starts launching, if that could accelerate, but no actionable signal there either, or major one in force anyway. If we go to copper, JJC, inside day here, and see copper, at least on the month, still trying to get out of this stuff, and so potentially up sideways measured move, which would be nice. SCCO has been on the move in his inside day, so it's just a matter of follow through there with no major actionable signals in force. If we go to CLF, I know it's coming to that. CLF here would be slight RevStrat as it opens and closes back in the inside bar if we can get out of there. If we go to letter X, it is weekly hammer, and once again, just pain. What is it? How do we get out of here? So the hopes would be that hammer gets this thing moving, because you can see like Nucor doing absolutely nothing. So if we move on to financials, Financials still need to get out of here too, and they're in the top upper part of the range. They can try and get out of here. XLF, the same. KRE here, all looking very similar in these really tight broadening formations to come the end of the month. So the question, can we get these banks going again? And you're going to have KRE and some of these things trying to form monthly momentum hammers if they've consolidated enough, and these moves are for reals. So we'll see. JP Morgan. JP Morgan trying to do the same, and you can see this once again. Tight broadening formation comes down, tests it, and pops back up. So we can see if that can go test the highs again and then maybe form that hammer and take it. Bank of America doing the same, a little stronger, right near the highs, but nothing to go on outside these inside days because everything's drying up. Citicorp has been weaker and comes down into here, so no hammer there. Would need to get back through this stuff here, but no signal there. If we go to Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo tries to get through here, not as strong enough on that just yet, but Wells Fargo forming the inside month here in the next few days. If we go to PNC Bank, PNC, we actually, the thing got the move, and once again, potential momentum hammer. And that's why we got to look for some of these signals where we can get things to move. You get the shooter countered by hammer, that's fractal triangle. Took that out, and that was a nice little move there. But for now, just waiting for these monthlies to close out. Goldman Sachs here goes inside weak here. And so once again, all these things looking fairly similar. It's a matter where they are here to see if this is the lower high and still can't get up there and drops back in or starts racing back towards the top of the triangle. So we'll look for continuation moves there. MA comes in, goes hammer after some slight lower lows. Still, for a few more days, is RevStrat month to the upside. You're just momentum going to the highs, kind of like Visor. And Visor was nice. This is the type of moves we got to keep looking for. The up, sideways, inside weak measured move. Went right to the tick and then stalls out, so nothing new there. If we go to XRT Retail, this is a real debacle. The weekly momentum shooter, and it's also below the monthly shooter here. And so the XRT just keeps walking down. And so one of the good things about this is when the market's slow, and then you have the Dow Jones going to 20,000, you just flip into the Dow Jones and say, who's not going to help? And it was Walmart. Walmart was great short in here because it's RevStrat month. It's the only time it was going down on all time frames last week. So perfect timing to go after this. So still RevStrat month, nothing, but that's exhausting. But you can see the underperformance versus the Dow. So that's what you kind of look for, these divergences. Target, puker. Inside month and down is just exhausting, so the question is whether this is going to be the momentum shooting star and just keep puking. It's been quite a brutal beating, but we'll see. That month is about to exhaust. If we go to Costco's still hanging around. Had a rough Friday here, trying to get out of here, and you'll see stuff like this here to see this stuff's still higher than all this. There's no new actionable signal there is going to be the problem, and then if you go to the monthly, you'll see this. Here it gets up there, not quite. So the hopes here is this goes inside month and goes up inside month and measured move. It says we're one of the good retailers and goes into the highs, but we'll let that month close out. Okay, Abercrombie, still puking, and just some of this stuff, just looking for continuation signals into zero for bloodbath and beyond. Trying to get through this business in here, and it was a nice inside day and down. If we go to the weekly, just going to see if this finally is the consolidation and finally continues this and down into this stuff. So just looking for continuation patterns there. Go to Best Buy. These guys still hanging around up here, and not a lot of retailers can say that, hanging up in here. So the question is their day coming? Well, you got inside day side by side, or inside week side by side shooting stars there to see if they want to join the puking party of retail. Big Lots also momentum shooting star down in here, and that is presently, at least for the next few days, monthly shooter and down. So they're still hanging around, but certainly we want to keep an eye on these things because these retailers have been a good spot to be as far as debacles. If you got DG, still a 2-bar monthly pattern, but it is below that inside month. And now you got an inside week momentum shooting star to try and continue that. If you go to Dick's also inside week momentum shooting star to see if it wants to take that out. And once again, the big triangle like this on the monthly, if this starts cratering back into here, that could still have some more to it. So if we go to GES, yeah, trying to go inside month. Remember, it was kicking pattern month last month, and if it doesn't hold on, it would be because of these shooting stars after taking out some highs. So, perchance more pain below those. If we go to GNC, everybody, if it's all over, it's all over. And right now, it's a straight momentum, but you can look for signals there if it's all over. Okay, if we go to Macy's. And he's like, Macy's can't go out of business. I'm like, General Motors went out of business. So let's not take anything off the table. And now Macy's just going inside weak here. And the painful part for this would be this monthly. If this is the consolidation of this, down consolidation, keep puking measured move. If we go to SIG, more problems here. That's still inside month and down for a few more days, and you got the weekly shooting star here. If the momentum, if they want to take that out, once again, you can see the daily. If this is the consolidation pattern, the failed attempt, and then rip through this stuff, could be more pain there. Ross Stores still holding tough. So the question is their day coming? And there's slight month and down, but it's a 2-bar monthly pattern in there, and just want to keep an eye on all this stuff to see if these guys can really survive, because TJ Maxx doing similar, just that slight month down 2-bar pattern in here. But with the way retail's acting, certainly want to keep an eye on all this stuff. Tractor Supply, another one here. If this is corrective activity of the real dump, you're still a monthly shooter down, and we're going to keep an eye to see if this was just corrective action and then starts plunging back in like all the other retailers. If we go to VFC Corp, VFC still inside month and down here, and for a few more days. But, we'll see how that goes. If we go to Crude Oil Corp's inside week here and just stuck in here. How do we get out of here? So the question is this the real move? Consolidation inside week and start ripping back up into here, or do we want to dump back down through this? But if you go to the XLE, you can see this. It's nothing. This is doji week. It's horrible. All right, it's horrible. Look at this. How you trade this? It's not barely moving. It's really tight in here. It's still walking lower in general, with the market going to the highs. If you go to XOP, similar. All this nothingness. OIH. It's horrible. OIH monthly. Doji month, inside doji month. So at least we're going to get an inside month out of that to get our consolidation. Go to ExxonMobil. At least this thing was on the move for a good portion of the month, and now you've got your inside week here at least. But you're just, how do we get out of this? Was this the fake move? Then back into this consolidation, then rip down back through here. Is going to try and hold and come back up. Inside week to start. Chevron. Rev strat to the downside. It's a shooting star countering the inside weak. So potentially some more pain there if we can get that below 112.85. Go to BP. BP also takes out some highs, but then goes potential momentum shooting star back into this triangle if they start hitting the arrow. If we go to CLR was in the daily video, which was nice because this is what kind of stuff we got to look for, the triangles and then shooters to try and pull back through that range, and we got that. And what that does set up is the weekly momentum shooting star if they want to bring back down through this stuff. If we go to Noble NBL just an inside week and holding a little tougher than everybody else. And once again, trying to look for measured moves. And you got this up sideways. And so hopefully you can get this to try and take that out if it takes the inside week. If we go to PE, look at this. What a nightmare. Right? So what that does cause is the inside week if there's any hope. And a lot of this stuff is just going to be a matter of whether the underlier makes a big move. Because PE for sure. Outside of that, going inside month. If we go to PXD also setting up the tight inside month, so we'll see how that goes. It does start an inside week if things start to move, though, however, but you can see them drying up this weekly. No one, look at this. Okay, if we go to SU also weekly momentum shooting star if they want to hit the underlier, and let's see this here. like so. Slight higher high, now trying to drop back in if we get some weakness over there. If we go to SU, then slobber. So slob still trying to walk up this business. So still on the daily though, very jagged in here and tight. And let's see if this can get this consolidation to take her down into there. If you go to the monthly, you'll see this. Potential side-by-side shooting stars on the monthly if they want to hit this thing. Halliburton, on the other hand, has been acting much better, and Halliburton going toward the highs. Halliburton, recent highs, I should say, and Halliburton was walking up this business. Now inside day up in here. So the question is inside day and keep pushing, or is it going to drop back in and join the weakness of the rest? But it starts off as inside day Halliburton. If we go to NOV, and this thing, just this daily tight triangle, and this is, like I said, this, well, we got to try and hunt down if they start hitting these things, if it's going to come back down through here. If we go to Helmut Payne, now there, at least we got some movement. You get your kicking pattern, drop it in. That was real nice. And so what that did was it takes out the monthly shooter to the downside and gets this thing cooking. And this is when I talk about looking for these weekly bars that are on the move. That thing's on the move. That's what you want. Now it's a matter of follow through, and that monthly is going to exhaust. So we'll see. If we go to the refiners, MPC. MPC sets up for RevStrat downside weekly, which would be nice because we've got this and we want the continuation of this if it can kick it in, because once again on the monthly you can see that's bright red. So that would be helpful if we can get that to kick in. You got Tesoro here doing the same thing on the daily. Outside shooting star against inside days. So see if they want to hit that some more. PSX here, just so you can see this triangle here, and that's the kind of stuff we got to look for, and what that created was once again the weekly outside shooting star. So we'll see if we can take that out. EMES, if Fracken's back, is on the move here too, little guy. So what we got to look for, things are doing stuff like that. That's moving. And once again, remember, it used to be somebody way up here. So if Fracken's back, we can keep an eye on that. And what it does do is it starts off as daily momentum hammer. If you want to keep that going. SUN did finally take that weekly to the upside, so the hopes you can continue this, because at least for a few more days you got the inside month break, and even if it doesn't take out 2902, it'll be a 2-month inside pattern, so we can still keep an eye on that. If we go to Natty, you guys, and you can see it's stuck in here. We go to UNG, maybe look a little bit cleaner here, just doji in here and doing nothing, and that's, you know, it's stuck in the middle. If you go to the weekly, you can see this, nowhere near that, and stuck right here in the middle, and no winter as yet. Well, not much of one anyway. If we go to IBB, maybe we get something out of this. So although this IBB is most likely going 2-bar inside pattern, maybe a RevStrat month here to get out of this. I mean, nowhere near getting out of here, which is the problem, at least for now. This week, if we can get back above 276.13, would be inside month to the upside. We got a weekly hammer to try and help that, and to help the hammer, we got an inside day to start off. You got XLV, not an inside day, but you do have that weekly hammer here, once again on that monthly, to try and get back through there. So maybe we get something out of that stuff. But the main problem here is going to be constant inside month stuff. And here's that BIIB 2-month pattern still inside. Still needs to get outside of this big mother bar, and it's not doing it. Regeneron here does go month and down, and so that's why we get the RevStrat going to the downside. You know, we could watch all these things together, but still nowhere near taking out this giant range, and that therein lies the problem. You know, at least last week we got this. We got the weekly to trigger the monthly a little bit, but still in this big triangle here, and nowhere near getting out of it, and still, you know, trying to consolidating, albeit somewhat of a big range. GILD still pig, but trying to hold the lows at least for now. But the problem here is on the daily, you're going to start off as a RevStrat downside, and to see if they can get out of this, because GILD sitting on monthly shooting star here to go into the low. So this thing's still handily underperforming those. Amgen, however, Amgen's still inside month and up, and still on the weekly. Problem is these 3 weeks are completely within this bar's range, but you got this big power hammer here to see if we can get through here and start going, because you do have that month still enforced to the upside, and especially if that IBB stuff kicks in for us. If we go to Celgene, Another nightmare. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 weeks completely within this bar's range. And that's where you're going to get killed. Oh, it's going down. It's going up. It's going down. No down. No up. It's doing nothing. Right? So that's going to give you the 2-month inside pattern and potentially rev strat to the downside. On the daily, however, you do have this triangle in here and an inside day after an outside day. So if they do start to perk up, maybe you get something out of the Celgene. If we go to ACAD here sets up at rev strat week to the upside here, inside week countered with hammer, so potential there. If we go to ALKS here, ALKS, these tight inside weeks here to see if they can get anything out of there. If you go to the daily, you're going to see this triangle needs to get out of here. So the question is, what is this here? Can it get ripped through all that stuff? Because right now it's going rev strat month here, goes to the upside and coming through all the way back to the other side. So we'll see if they want to hit that thing. So once again, when we look for measured move type of deals, your hopes is down, sideways, measured move of that and rip through that stuff. If we go to CALA, little guy, but at least it's an inside week here to see if there's anything more in the tank of this up, sideways, measured move. Go to ICPT. ICPT does set up the rev strat week, and that was created by the inside day and up. However, 2-month inside pattern here, so the hopes is that IBB can get some of this stuff to perk up. Go to Juno, Maine. Juno going inside month, and so if there's any hope, you can keep an eye on this inside month off the all-time lows if there's any hope for Juno, but we'll let that close out. MNK inside week here to see if it's going to be down. Inside week and keep puking if there's any hope to bring it back. If we go to Mylan, Mylan goes rev strat week, potential to the upside here, and the good thing about that is, once again, you could re-break that inside month back to the upside. Otherwise, if it fails into here, we got rev strat month to the downside setting up for February. If you go to PTLA, PTLA does this. Inside week here, so the hopes, once again, it's the up, sideways, inside week, can get a measured move of that and try and reverse this outside bar. If we go to Rare still on the monthly here, battling to go month and down, going to be a 2-month pattern, so interesting inside day here. See if they continue to use this as the continuation pattern and rip down through all that stuff, or hold the inside day and try and come back up into the triangle. If we go to TSRO, doji day, but at least we got some action in here. Look at this. At least this thing's moving around, and that's what we want. What it did do is stay inside month and up into the highs, and now chop them up, but good. And so the important part is now you had that inside week, outside week, so we really would want to set up to take out this outside week. However, that's a big enough range that this thing's moving around to like I said, anything's moving around we want to know about, because a lot of things aren't. If you go to UTHR, you can see how this thing has been handily outperforming, and I talked about it last week, and that once you start getting mid-month and stuff, you want to look for things that are bright green on the month, because at least this thing's moving, and that brings your attention to go after something like this, a rev strat day that brings it up. So that's just outperforming at this point, no actionable signals, but we're running out of month. VRTX the same, nice inside day here. Went inside week up. That was a nice little move. Up, sideways measured move. That's what we're looking for. But we're running out of month. But it was, nice bright and green on the month, and it is an inside day. So if all that stuff kicks in, we'll take a look. Semiconductors. That's where it's been. Tech. Go, go, go tech. Go, go gadget tech. SMH and XLK. The question is, can the momentum continue? Because we're running out of month, and we're running out, a lot of things just ripping into the highs. Facebook getting the job done. Up, sideways, see if we can get more measured move out of this. It went weekly and monthly up, still month and up, trying to take out the all-time highs there. Amazon did the same. So those were two nice spots to be in all the year and all month. So here, did the inside month and up, and then the inside week up, trying to go to new all-time highs. And now somewhat here, you got momentum hammer if it wants to keep going come Monday morning, since they're putting all the retailers out of business. Go to Netflix. Netflix going inside week, and right going into all-time highs. So we'll see if that can propel more out of that, because inside week, nice little consolidation, and now holds the gap, and now inside week, potential ripper. If we go to Google Google earnings gives you the outside day fractal triangle, and so all that's doing really is just stalling out, going into new highs. And so good chance this thing goes inside week this week, so be careful of that. It is a big range, but most likely going inside week. If you go to AVGO, ripper, go. Remember that inside week here. That's nice, right? It's still going. The question is, can the Momo continue? Well, we got another momentum hammer. This was an inside momentum hammer, triangle support. That took off. We got that. That was nice. Now just momentum hammers going to the highs if they want to keep buying her up. Cyber here, and just stalling out a bit. And you've got here's a weekly rev strat to the downside potential. You've got microchip, MCHP, the semis. Just driving into the highs, and it's still inside month and up for now. Just going into higher highs would be our risk, but you do have an inside day combination. If you go to Corvo, just an inside day, and once again, you would just look for these things that have those bright monthly green bars and see if they can continue. If you go on the weekly, you got a little bit more room if it wants to hit this triangle like this. Like so. If we go to Symantec ripper, and that's what we look, the measured mover. Go up, consolidate, go inside month, and bam. Now it's just right on the top of the triangle, but it's inside month and it is inside day if they got a little more in the tank. Teradyne more semi-get. So that was a nice inside week and up there. Now just starting off as an inside day to see how much more Momo we got in the tank in these things. All right, just a few more. We go ACIA. Pig. Oh, how they want to bottom pick this thing. And the 60-minute triangle was a beaut. Went right to it. Like so. And now what that sets up by dropping back in is you got potential rev strat week. Inside week counter with shooter if they want to finish him. If we go to ACN on the monthly here, still rev strat month below 116.09, which it is, and now potentially for the week. Shooting star counters inside bar. So potentially we get the rev strat week month down combo. That would be nice. If we go to Baxter, just hoping for some triangle magnitude, and by that I mean watching this weekly to see now that it's come back up into here to see if there's any continuation patterns up towards here. And so as you can see, the shooter here goes up, then slight lower low down, and so when you look at the daily, you're going to see this to see if this is the continuation pattern, but no new actionable signals there. If we go to EQIX, this thing's been on a tear here too. On the weekly, the question here is this weekly shooting star after slight higher highs, if that's all she's got in the tank. There's a nice move here, but we can pay attention to the shooting star if they want to bring it in here or below 381.41. If you go to MSEX here, this also potential rev strat here by opening and closing back into that range. So the hopes here is down, sideways, measured move, clobber it. And as you can see here on the daily, here's your consolidation pattern. So your hopes is we get more of this to the downside, but we shall see. If you go to shop, inside day, inside month, to the upside, measured mover going, so running out a month, but we'll see like a lot of these things that they got the Momo. If we go to WebMD, remember on the real long-term stuff, WebMD right now is month and down, so the hopes this sideways measured move and clobber this thing, because on the really long charts here, you might recall from the macro video, this would be rev strat year to the downside below 45, 46, and then if we go to the quarterly chart here, right now it's inside quarter and down below 48.26. So right now that thing is inside quarter and down, and potentially rev strat year and inside month and down. So some potential wreckage there, because we know with Tesla, when we looked at the long-term chart, with how well that played out here, the rev strat quarter still above 223.80, and that thing, Tesla, took care of business here, baby. So that's still in force. All right, Tesla's still in force. You can see what a rev strat quarter can do, and it's a lot of damage here. We just don't have any new actionable signals in it, but that's still in force. So for right now, we're going to watch these earnings jump around. We're going to finish off this month so we can form some equilibriums and get some new stuff going. A lot of things just stuck in the mud, and we got to stay on where the volatility is, and that's the name of the game. All right, that's going to do it for this week. I'm Rob Smith, the Black Quant VTF here at T3 Live.